In addition to adding noise or sharpness with the sharpening adjustment, we can also remove noise using the noise reduction adjustment. We can clearly see this image has quite a bit of noise. It's also evident that the image has been taken at night. This is a good example of what can happen when the image sensor's ISO sensitivity is set too high in low light conditions. Using the noise reduction settings, we can try to eliminate as much noise as possible. The first option we have here is the Luminance Adjustment. This adjustment focuses on the granularity of the noise. In other words, how well the grains of the image blend in with one another. Without adjusting the luminance slider, we can see that the grains don't blend well at all. That's what's causing a grainy look for this image. Watch what happens when we move the luminance slider from the very left to the right. By toggling the preview switch on and off, you can see that quite a bit of noise has already been removed with that one setting alone. Keep in mind that sometimes when you apply noise reduction, you do tend to lose some sharpness in the image. For this reason, it's important to balance this setting to preserve detail but also eliminate as much noise as possible. Generally speaking, a setting of 70 to 80 does work quite well, so I'll keep it at around 75. So this will eliminate grain while still maintaining detail in the hair strands and eyes and those kinds of areas. The detail slider over here, the detail slider will determine how much detail is preserved in the image. Remember that adding detail entails adding noise. The right amount of noise is essential, and that's what gives us detail. Too much noise and we have grain. In this case, we won't be able to add much detail without bringing the noise back, so I'm going to drag the detail down to 0. So you can see that the noise reduction is even more dramatic when we bring the detail slider down. We don't need to add any contrast between our shadows and highlights either, so you can leave the contrast slider all the way down. This is what would happen if we brought it all the way up. You can see the difference. It just becomes a little bit too patchy. So I'm going to leave that at 0. And the next setting we can adjust here is color. To see the effect of this adjustment, magnify the eye area by 4:1. And then just zero in on one of the eyes. Here in the eye area, and even other parts of the image, you can see we have that colored texture, especially in the pupils of the eye. There's quite a bit of that pixelated colored noise there. This is exactly what the color slider targets. We can remove this color by sliding the slider to the right. So you can see the difference right away. Now you can also smoothen the transition between pixels by reducing the detail slider down. Okay, so that further helps remove the color from that pixelated grain area. We can further smoothen the transition between pixels by increasing the smoothness. So that's with 0 smoothness, that's with 100. Now once you've made these adjustments, go back to the fit view, and you're going to toggle your preview switch on and off, and you can see that there's a very dramatic change, and Lightroom does an excellent job in removing grain from an image. We hope you enjoyed that lecture, and in the next lecture we're going to be working with the lens corrections panel. We'll also be working with image ny002.jpg, so please go ahead and load that image in the develop view.